I just realized I think my audio was off for that intro. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have to definitely double check that next time before I go live. But yeah, guys, what is going on and how y'all doing on this Tuesday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, the October 17th, 2022 edition that took place in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We are, I think, 2 weeks away, from WWE's Crown Jewel. Well, I'm not going to be so much like Crown Jewel, because there, of course, is a big headline match that I am intrigued by that show, of course, now. The main event I still don't care about, but there's a new headlining match for that show that I definitely am very excited about. Hoping it goes past Crown Jewel, though, because I don't want it to be wasted overseas. It deserves, of course, to have a match, in one of the on one of the big four pay-per-views as well, which I'm still hoping they push it to Survivor Series. Unless they somehow get to WrestleMania, but I highly doubt that'll happen. But you never know these days, of course. But yeah, we're gonna go here. I'm not gonna be up here as long, I think, as like a couple of my past reviews, especially my SmackDown. My SmackDown review was very great that I did over the weekend. But I don't think I'm gonna be up here as long. Raw was. You see, there was a couple things that I more so thought Raw was on the decent to solid side, like the C+, B- side. There was a couple things, though, that was itching me, though, to keep it at a B. I gave this week's show a B. It was a decent storytelling driven show. But there was still some nitpicks I had about it. Some stuff, though, that I really liked. Like that opening segment. Well, we'll talk about that, because I set my expectations very high for that opening segment. Did it hit them? Not quite, but I still thought it was excellent. Basically, it was just the next closest thing to what I thought we would get. But it was still great. But yeah, I still have only about an hour. Tonight is Dynamite. Of course, I have it on Tuesday night this week. I am not going to be able to watch it, though, tonight. I will have to watch it tomorrow, still on Wednesday. So still on the same schedule, basically. But, of course, I have the time. Slide up here and talk about Raw really quick. Again, it was still a solid show. Again, like I said, a couple things, pushed me to put it at a B. But, again, there is a couple little nitpicks I will have about this show as well. So, without further ado, and we got Tyler here in the live chat. Thank you for joining me, Tyler. We're going to roll in and talk about this show very, very quickly. So, we open up the show. I think I actually missed the first 2 or 3 minutes of Raw, because I didn't turn my TV on until 8:02. And when I turned it on, Bobby Lashley was in the ring. And he's on the microphone calling out Brock Lesnar after what happened last week when Lesnar returned, laid him out, injured him, and then, of course, him trying to be a fighting champion, Seth Rollins pushing him so far, the fact that he even insulted Bobby Lashley for being a soldier, it costed Bobby Lashley his United States Championship, and now Seth Rollins is the new United States Champion. So Lesnar came out here, and then Lashley met him halfway, and they started brawling. Lesnar slammed into the ring post, and then a fireman's carry looked like that he was about to hit Lashley face first to another post. But then Lashley jumped off Lesnar's back. He pushes Lesnar into the post and then spears his ass through the barricade. Lesnar got some height. He kind of flew off the ground with that spear. So of course security's out there, trying to, break this up, make it get anywhere further. But then, of course, that was not enough, though, as Lashley was able to get away. He jumped through and speared Lesnar for a second time, and then hit a spine buster on him, putting him through the announce table. He dominated Brock Lesnar, which I love to see. This was, because the match they had earlier this year at Royal Rumble, it was fine, but the problem, again, I had with it was, well, you can tell by the way it was booked, it was treated as a story, development match for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That I still thought the way it was booked was dumb. I mean, the match itself, take that away, it was still solid. We can do even better. And of course, the match was announced official for Crown Jewel. which now I have something I'm intrigued for Crown Jewel. Because before, of course, I still think that main event with Roman Reigns and Logan Paul will be a good match. It's just too predictable, and just the idea that Logan Paul is getting a world title match against like the best world champion you've had in years after just 2 matches and 1 singles match just drives me bonkers. The fact that, again, they're relying on Logan Paul again still to, draw the attention overseas. I don't like that. But like I said, I have a reason now to watch Crown Jewel, and it is because of Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Now, I did set the bar a little high for this brawl. I was hoping for like an Undertaker Brock Lesnar brawl from Fallout show from Battleground 2015. We didn't get that, but I think this was still the next best thing. But definitely the highest point of the show. The best thing on the show for sure was definitely that brawl between the two of them. I can't wait for that match. And again, too, there's no title involved in the match. As I'm saying, I think the more intriguing Brock Lesnar matches I think I've had, that I've been more intrigued to, the build's been good for, well, other than, of course, him and Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania 32, which was a huge letdown, but of course, kind of Brock's fault, because Brock didn't want to do anything. But I still feel like, if you give Brock Lesnar non-title feuds, he's not always in the title picture, you got my money. You've got my money. And yes, this is a match this should have been the main event of SummerSlam 2018. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, World Universal title. But of course, they waited way too long for it. Yes, could have happened 5 years sooner, but it's still going to be an excellent match. I can't wait. It was a nice hot way to open up the show. We then had a match with the OCs, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, taking on Alpha Academy's Chad Gable and Otis. Again, Otis is showing some more personality lately, which is interesting to me. I don't know if this means that I honestly, what's Tucker doing? If they want to bring back Tucker and have like Heavy Machinery and Chad Gable still be a team, cool with me, because again, they're not winning matches. But Alpha Academy still has great character right now, which is still like making them entertaining for me. We do definitely, because the match was good. It was just like a match to get the rust off and get the OC back in the groove. They definitely don't need to develop characters though, because like I said, last time we saw these guys, they were just chumps talking about being nerds and like just having like a comedy gimmick thrown on them. We got to get them back to how they were at their best when they were with AJ Styles in 2016. We got to get them back to that club, that OC. So the character development is going to take a bit. And yes, of course, also we do have have them as baby faces now. But of course we got to just brush them up. I'm sure Triple H will be able to get them on track. But yeah, the character development does need to happen. After the match though, the Judgment Day come out, and Finn Balor is saying "too sweet" several times, and it says it's the same old crap. Damian Priest says boys are crazy, and the three of them think they accomplished something great last week, but they stopped giving a damn about them a long time ago, and the only thing they did is guarantee they're going to get cooked by the Judgment Day. Finn reminds us that he's the one that started this stupid little club that they're talking about, and he'll break them just as he made them. He challenges to a match, but not tonight, at the Crown Jewel. And the way he moved his hand and where it was placed, it was kind of awkward. But it was like, at the Crown Jewel. AJ was like, first, we accept. But second, I don't understand why everybody does this. Because this is Raw. And they can do it right here. And that is unless they have to ask their mother for permission. And then Dominic Mysterio tells AJ to shut his mouth. Unless he wants to be like his father and run away to the other brand with his tails between his legs. And then Styles basically said, unlike your father, I don't tolerate that BS. Since you want to run your mouth, we can have a match tonight and handle business. Rhea Ripley accepts for Dominic, but then goads him into bragging about how he's going to rip Styles limb from limb. And Styles says, "Lose right now," but Dom's like, "Oh, heck no, not now. I got to get geared on. I got to get taped up. I got to get ready." And then he keeps saying, "I'm going to mop the floor though with you once I am ready." And AJ's like, "Fine. Take your time, and then I'll beat the piss out of you, something that your own father should have done. And it'll be too sweet." So at the time, that sounded like an exciting match, right? AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Then we have Seth Rollins coming out. He, of course, comes out and introduces himself as the new United States champion. He tells the haters who counted him out, because I guess they said to the announce team that it has been 952 days since Seth Rollins held any sort of championship, which is surprisingly quite a long time. But him being a U.S. champion, I'm definitely intrigued by that. Especially, well, the booking on this show with the match he had was odd to me, but what they're set up going forward, ooh, I like it. This is another big plus from this show. So he basically says, tell the haters who counted him out that they can kiss his beautiful red behind, but for all of the fine folks who have always had his back and never counted him out, he asked them to do what they've always done and sing his song, which he conducts before saying tonight's historic because it's the first defense in what will undoubtedly be the greatest U.S. title reign of all time. And it's in the main event. And he's going to wipe this mat with Matt Riddle's face. Now, my problem I had with them doing when Raw, I pretty much figured the fight pit was happening. Somehow Seth Rollins would win the U.S. title, which I didn't think it would be because of Brock Lesnar returning. But I did sense that Seth was going to dethrone Lashley last week, even before Brock returned. And I thought, okay, it'll have like the blow off for this feud with Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle with the U.S. title on the line. But then they just unceremoniously just have it on this show. No further build between the two of them. I feel like that it just really kind of cooled off the personal tension between Seth and Riddle. I felt like they should have built it for it a little bit more before actually having the match. I mean, I don't know now because some people are saying it might be a setup for a fatal 4-way. Personally, after what they did on the show last night, I don't want a fatal 4-way. It could happen, but I want a singles match between Seth Rollins and another person who stepped up recently to Bobby Lashley, and he also stepped up to Seth freaking Rollins on this show as well. Anyways, though, but yeah, that was one of my little gripes. I kind of didn't like how they just had the U.S. title match with Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins here, and that was it. It's with how good the build was for this whole feud, you kind of wanted to, give this one last, nudge before actually doing the title match. They could have done the U.S. title match at Crown Jewel. They could have if they would have waited for it. Because then the story could have been Matt Riddle's well, I got a win over you. I beat you in the fight pit, so I should be the one to challenge for the U.S. title. They kind of just completely ignored that story. I mean, yes, we got the idea from it, but I don't know, it's you wanted to see some sort of development first before you got to that U.S. title match, in my opinion. Anyways, though, he said he's going to clear up a bit of a miscommunication that was Extreme Rules. He admits he tapped out when Riddle had him in the triangle sleeper, but that was a strategic move because he knew he had to be in the best possible condition to beat Bobby Lashley and win the title. And again, see, right there, it's okay, it's kind of a stepping stone moment that should have an excuse to be built towards a third match. But again, they just rushed and had no build for it at all. That's where I'm a little bit of a head scratcher. But then we got this. We have Mustafa Ali interrupting Seth Rollins. Have we ever seen that match one-on-one? Because I don't think we have. But he comes out and he says he was waiting for Seth to shout his boy Brock Lesnar out for the assistance, but if he's not going to mention it, he's not going to push it. But the previous champion promised him he was next in line. And things change, champions change, but challenge remains the same. He wants another shot for the U.S. title. Rollins just cracks up and says if he looks like Bobby Lashley for telling Ali he has to go to the back of the line. He's got two options. Stay out here and party with everybody and celebrate the new champion, or he can skedaddle his way out of the ring because he doesn't belong in this ring with Seth. And then, of course, Ali wasn't having it. He just, plucks Seth's sunglasses off his head and throws them away and says, it's not going to go down like that. And he may be Seth freaking Rollins, but he's staring at his next freaking problem. And he's not going to go anywhere, and he's not backing down, and he wants a fight. Seth says he appreciates what he's trying to do, and he likes and respects him, and says he's one of the best performers in WWE, but he's an even better human being. He sees what he does to help the young guys out in the back. He's a great friend and a great father. Bam! Rollins just stops mid-sentence and just blindsides him and starts beating him down to the floor. Ali powers up and attacks Rollins, but Rollins catches him and throws him viciously face first into a ring post. It was a pretty deadly looking bump there. And the bumps, especially he took there, Ali took there, and of course, the bumps that he took with Bobby Lashley and the story they told in that match gave me vibes back to when he was in the Cruiserweight division in 2019. I do like that, like what they've been having Ali been doing on TV lately with the bumps he's taking. Because again, I always think back to the Talk Is Jericho podcast he had in the beginning of 2019 with Jericho, and he told him even though Vince never used him well after that, but Vince said that he's good at giving empathy, and the bumps he takes, even in his match he had on 205 Live, the crazy bumps he took. But how he fought back from them, really made Mustafa Ali stand out to me. Like I said before, he was basically at the time 205 Live's Shawn Michaels. And he easily could be Raw's or SmackDown's Shawn Michaels as well. So I do like that they're giving him this shot, and he's taking those crazy bumps, and he's showing that old character. I still wish they would just give him back his old theme song. Because, yes, the theme song he has now worked for when he was a heel, but if he's a face again, basically doing his old gimmick, give him his old theme back. Because it would be something if Mustafa Ali can recover from Retribution. Because the poor guy, as leader of Retribution, he cut some excellent promos. He fought his ass off to try to make that work. And it was just shit from the moment that they just ruined the story. It was just, oh God, it was, man, it was, I just feel so bad. But especially what they did later on the show, I do like what they did with Mustafa Ali on the show. Then we had a random match with Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Sky taking on Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae in a decent match. Like I said, I'm still, feeling mixed about, how I feel about Damage Control right now. Because like I said, the momentum has died off on me. Me feel like they're the female Undisputed Era, big time, momentum coming in as a group. Again, they've lost a lot of matches lately. Well, not as a team. But what's still keeping me a little bit intrigued is the fact that they're acknowledging there's a problem. They're still trying to tell a story about how, and from their losses. I can appreciate that, but they gotta get some victories. They got one here actually. Bayley distracted Bianca, and Candice basically got beat down 2-on-1. And Damage Control got the victory, and they're defending the women's tag titles on SmackDown this Friday against Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi Blackheart. And then Bayley is getting a non-title match against Bianca next week. I don't know how I feel about that. Because, one, you don't want us doing the old thing of champions winning, champions losing non-title matches. I got so sick of those when Vince was around. But also, do you really want Bayley to lose again? So if they're going to have them fight again next week, why not just make it for the title? So that was a little bit strange there. Then we have this interview with Matt Riddle backstage, who says Seth is like a cheap hoverboard and he can make any excuse he wants, but he got exposed in the fight pit and he's going to beat his ass tonight. And then he sees Mustafa Ali walking around backstage, tells him he's got guts standing up to Seth, and if he wins the U.S. title night, he'll give him the title match he deserves. And as they're talking, though, they hear a groan, and Miz is on the floor clutching his knee in agony, saying he slipped on a puddle, basically saying that the janitors aren't doing their jobs. And of course, Ali and Riddle tell him to have more respect for the sanitation engineers. And then, of course, he begs off his match with Dexter Lumis tonight and demands to go get a trainer. So obviously, it's just so obvious that he's faking this injury to get out of his match with Dexter Lumis. Because he has a match with Dexter Lumis later on the show, where if Lumis wins, he gets a contract with Raw. If he loses, then he can just stay out of it. Then we get a backstage segment. And it's with Rhea Ripley. Well, the Judgment Day was backstage. And rolling up was NXT's Cora Jade. I've seen some of Cora's work. I'm intrigued by Cora Jade. I did like what I saw from her opponent, Roxanne Perez. I did like what I saw from her on Friday on SmackDown. But I guess there's this story in NXT where they're doing kind of like a pick your poison thing on NXT tonight. I guess Roxanne gets to pick Cora's opponent from a SmackDown superstar, and then Cora went to Raw to pick Roxanne's opponent on Raw. And she basically rolled up to Rhea Ripley and says that she wants Rhea to be Roxanne's opponent, and Rhea does accept to do so. And then, well, of course, as soon as he rolled up, I'm like, okay, he's here. But we then get the return of JBL. JBL appears. And he says it takes a momentous occasion to get him back to the WWE. And he's got an announcement that will shake the foundation of Raw. He wants to apologize for doing this in Oklahoma. Texas, though, is right there, just south of the Red River, and these trailer park hillbillies don't even have the common sense to leave. He talks about crap before getting back to the point, which is that he mentions how Rey Mysterio left Raw, and Dominic finally figured out what we knew decades ago, is that Rey Mysterio is one of the worst human beings on the planet. Still holding a grudge against Rey, I guess, for ending his career, will be his last match, ending his career, whatnot, WrestleMania 25, whatnot. But anyways, he didn't agree to leave for free. There was a trade made, and that trade was for, which he's also calling the greatest addition to Monday Night Raw in history. I wouldn't say that, definitely not. Baron Corbin. So, not long after SummerSlam, about a month ago, we did see Baron Corbin get into JBL's limo, and we had not seen him since. But they've traded him over to Raw, which, okay, he's been on SmackDown his whole main roster career, except when he was constable of Monday Night Raw and general manager, which we all remember how bad that was. And then he got put back on the SmackDown not long after he became King Corbin, and he's been there ever since. So he's over on Raw now. First off, glad they dropped the Happy Corbin stuff, because I was done with that. I'm glad they gave him his name back. Interesting idea to put him with JBL since they're both heat magnets. Here's the only problem that I gotta say. What the hell is up with those pants? Those pants look like I couldn't tell. It reminded me of Giant Gonzalez. I couldn't tell if part of the pants was pants or if it was his actual legs. It was awkward. He's got to get some new pants. But interesting pairing. So, anyways, Corbin came out. Still to his old Happy Corbin theme music. Why not give him back Why not give him back his Lone Wolf or his or even his his theme song he had, the theme song he had after that I'll be your end of days or whatnot. Give him that back. JBL talks up his size and dominance, and then starts talking trash about Dolph Ziggler, accusing him of stealing money from the company for 15 years. and for the roster being too small for him. Though today starts the Monday Night Raw emergence of the modern day wrestling god, and then Dolph Ziggler comes out. Been a long time since we've seen these two have a match. They used to fight all the time, but Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin had a match. Wasn't too bad. Corbin wins. If they can book Baron Corbin like they did before, I keep saying, if they can book him before he failed his Money in the Bank cash-in, I'm okay. I'm okay with this. And again, this is a very interesting dynamic. Both guys being legitimate heat magnets. Although, one thing I got reminded of, JBL was on commentary during this match. And when Corbin hit the end of days, what did JBL say? Ball game! I do not miss that at all. I just, that drove me nuts. So I'm hoping to God, though, we don't get a ball game every Baron Corbin match. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm hoping this, because like I said, I really have not cared about Baron Corbin since he lost that Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm hoping to God we can get him back there and make him at least tolerable again. Not as a waste of time on my TV, not just like a cheap heel magnet. Actually give him a direction. Don't just have him be just like a cheap heel that you just throw out there for anybody to feud with. Actually make him legitimate again. I know he could do it. So, we have that going on there. And again, get new pants. Anyways, we have Miz getting checked out by a medic, and he's demanding to have surgery on his knee. Byron Saxton rolls up and says that they caught, the custodial staff caught him making his own puddle and basically staging the moment. And then Miz was like, how dare you blame me of that? He's got a big lawsuit coming in. And all of a sudden we hear, oh my God, it's Dexter Lumis! And Miz just like jumps up out and being startled, obviously revealing again he was faking it. We're like, who the heck was that? It was Johnny Gargano, who does know Dexter Lumis because of, the storyline with him, Indy Hartwell, and that in NXT. And of course, Gargano apologized for his mistake, and then Miz claims that his superior DNA has healed him, and it'll be Dexter Lumis that is injured tonight. Which may win the case. We then get, of course, a promo with MVP and Omos. Omos kept going like during the promo. Don't care. I'm sorry. That is something I literally don't care about right now at all. I do not care about this feud. Not intrigued. Basically just hyping up his sides and how Omos isn't ordinary, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to go to SmackDown tonight and walk up to Braun Strowman and look down at him. I don't care. I just really don't care. Again, this is going to be another Big Show, Great Khali, or Kane and Great Khali, or someone in Great Khali didn't have a good match. Anyways, you also got a recap of Bray Wyatt's return. And then we have another segment where another NXT star that I'm familiar with, Cameron Grimes, shows up. I guess he needs tag partners in for a match on NXT with the Schism, which I believe is Joe Gacy's group. Joe Gacy apparently has the grizzled young veterans, but yet they're repackaged and they're Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler. Awful. Absolutely awful rebranding there. That's a Vince thing, of course. But I guess he needed tag partners and he asked the OC, and I guess now we're getting Cameron Grimes and the OC versus the Schism or whatnot. So they accepted to be there. And then we had AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio. Not one of the best matches I've seen. It was a little bit sloppy. But then to my surprise, though, Dominic actually beat AJ. Well, Rhea got involved and tripped AJ, and Dominic rolled him up. But Dominic didn't really look too strong in this match. His wrestling, like, something was off with him in this match. Like, the personality's there, but the wrestling skills was like, I was surprised. Because I've been saying, Dominic needed the heel turn. He has the wrestling ability, but he needs the personality. Now he's got the personality, but his wrestling ability has not been quite as good. So, which did kind of hurt this match. But then we're getting ready for the match with Miz and Dexter Lumis. Johnny Gargano approached the Miz backstage. He says he knows the real story behind the A-lister and Dexter Lumis. And the easiest way for him to get out of this match is go tell everybody the real story. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What story are you talking about? Which I didn't think there was a history between Dexter Lumis and The Miz. Apparently there's something up the sleeve, though, with the writing team. Miz doubles down and says he's going to get Lumis banned forever and then settle the score with Johnny Gargano. And then during Lumis' entrance, Miz attacks him with a steel chair and hit a skull crusher finale on the chair. The match is off. And I'm like, whoa, like Miz actually got the upper hand on Dexter Lumis for once. And apparently there's a history. So, like, okay, it's like very slow snail's pace, but it's like we're getting something. First off, the Miz getting comeuppance on Dexter Lumis, getting that doubt that Dexter may not easily get his Raw contract, I liked. And now again, there's this story there too, which could lead also to a feud with Johnny Gargano and the Miz. I'm fine with that. But yeah, what's this story? I hope though they don't drag too long with this. Because of course later on in the show, Johnny runs into Miz and Johnny says that attack won't stop Dexter. The only thing that will stop him is giving him what he's owed. Which again, what is that? But then of course he warns him that if he doesn't come clean, he will blow this whistle. Which, okay, some whistle now is going to intimidate the Miz. But I'm a little more intrigued now. Because I'm like, okay, pick up the pace. But I'm like, we're being told there is something. We're being told there is a reason. Like, it was a very snail-like baby step. But I'm just like, there's something. Like, come on, give it to me. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. And then after that, so this main event was a little strange. Because we had the return of Elias. Not Ezekiel, Elias with his beard again. He says it feels, first this time he's standing in front with a keyboard and guitars at his side. His usual, hello, I am Elias. And he says it feels great to be back. His younger brother's career was tragically cut short, and that's why he's here tonight. So, no more Zeke. The show, though, as his family says, must go on. And he asks, of course, who wants to walk with Elias. Normally he'd play a song on the guitar, but he wanted to do something special tonight. This song, though, is straight from his heart and soul. And he gets a little emotional doing this one. So, of course, he does his usual. Instead of saying, shut your mouths, now he basically asks to hold your applause until he is done. And just as he's about to get started, he gets interrupted, like always, by Matt Riddle. And I'm like, okay. So Riddle comes out with bongos. And Elias is like, it's great to see you, Matt, but do you really want to interrupt his big return? And then Matt says, not here to interrupt, but he's a huge fan and asks Elias if he wants to hit one of his bongos. And he's like, no thanks, not really my thing. And Riddle says, WWE means walk with Elias, which he does a little Seven Nation Army sing-along with the crowd for. And then Elias says he appreciates it and offers Riddle a front row seat. Then Matt asks, one day, could they play together? And Elias is like, yes, one day we will. Said a couple of awkward little things. But then Elias starts playing the piano, and Matt can't help but join in with on his bongos for a little. And then Seth Rollins interrupts him. And then we have the match with Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. Good match. Probably my least favorite, though, again, out of the three they've had. Again, more so because they didn't really have a build for it. They just kind of just jumped right to it. I would have saved this U.S. title match for them. But Elias stayed out at ringside. And I think when the referee wasn't looking, Elias did take down Rollins with a knee. And then he super kicked Elias later on in the match. Back in the ring though, I think Elias was trying to get up to try to, get Seth back. But then I guess Riddle went for an RKO. But then Rollins shoves Riddle into Elias, and off the distraction, he was able to hit the curb stomp to retain the U.S. title. And then after the match, Rollins hit the curb stomp on Elias as well, and then he was getting ready to hit another one on Matt Riddle, but then here came Mustafa Ali. He came out, and then he laid out Rollins and beat him down, and even followed him into the crowd. And of course, eventually, though, Rollins was able to get free, and he just was deep into the crowd and held up his title. And then Ali kept telling Rollins, "I'm your problem now," as the show went off the air. So the execution of that match was weird. I didn't get why Elias had to be involved unless they're teasing the feud with him and Matt Riddle, and they're going to turn him heel immediately, which I think would be dumb because the crowd loves him. Some people are saying that maybe this is teasing for a fatal 4-way between Matt Riddle, Elias, and Ali. Okay, I just still find it weird how they finished the feud with Rollins and Riddle. It was kind of a little bit like a wet fart finish to it, in my opinion, with how they did this. But if they're building though towards Seth Rollins and Mustafa Ali though, again, I cannot complain. I loved what they did with Ali on here. Honestly, if they wanted Ali to win the U.S. title from Rollins, I'm all for it. That would be pretty incredible. I mean, I did hear rumors back in 2019. The reason why they were trying to give Ali a main event push immediately moving to SmackDown because apparently there was rumors he was a person they were considering having dethroned Daniel Bryan because they were going to be going to Saudi Arabia again for another overseas show, and they wanted an Arabian to be world champion. So this could be setting up, if they want to, have that moment for Ali now, this could still set up for a singles match between the two of them at Crown Jewel. Could still be a fatal 4-way, who knows? They might throw an Elias there just so somebody else can eat the pin. But if they want to do that, then I get it too. I mean, the execution was odd, but I still love what they did with Ali for sure in this whole show. And that's how the show went off the air. Again, I mean, after going through it again, I can say I do feel more confident giving this show a B. Again, the build for the main event was odd, but I still like what they did with Seth and Ali. I was a little more intrigued by what they did with Miz and Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano just, startling the Miz like he did. I like that little commentary bit there. Like I said, of course, the best thing of the show for sure was definitely Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. Stuff with Judgment Day and OC was fine. I mean, I'm intrigued by their match, but like I said, we gotta establish characters, of course, for the OC. We gotta wear the comedy funk off of them because they're here, but you look at them and you think, okay, last time they were here, they were just these comedy jobbers. Now it's we gotta reestablish them as well. And like I said, the match with AJ and Dominic was a little bit disappointing. Damage control stuff was decent. Like I said, though, I think they're trying to tell a story based on the fact that they realize that, that they're losing. They realize they got a problem. Again, it's just how they adapt to and go through the problem is what's going to, impact, them going forward. I still think it's a little strange they're doing a non-title match with Bayley and Bianca next week. I hope they'll do this thing where Bayley wins clean and that's how she gets her title match. Don't. That's Vince. That's old school. This is new era, new school. Don't do that. But yeah, I'll check the live chat before I go off the air because I have a few minutes. Tyler gave the show a B+. He's not reviewing Crown shit. He wants Ronda and Logan to be fired. JR, what's up? Did you hear Triple H was out? Yeah, I did hear Triple H did test positive for the virus. So Road Dogg ran last night's show, but the show was already written before it happened. So no Road Dogg material. Although maybe under Triple H, Road Dogg would be better. But then again, don't make Jinder Mahal world champion again. Never again. Please. No. Would they do RVD versus Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, but U.S. title, for the U.S. title? Ooh! Would be intriguing, but I don't think RVD is coming back. But that would be neat. JBL is the best thing as a heel seen his feuds with Eddie in 2004. I definitely agree. He wants Charlotte and Becky back and the World and Tag titles split. I think at this point the World and Tag titles aren't going to be split till probably WrestleMania. Even though, again, I still think they need to get one of the titles off of Roman. Or both of them. Because like I said, I'm still praying we get Roman and Rock at Mania this year. Because if not this year, I don't see any reason why to ever do it again. Because it's in freaking Hollywood. Hollywood! So we'll see. And again, that feud does not need a title. But that's going to do it here, guys. I am going to get off. Now, again, I'm not going to be able to watch Dynamite tonight. I'll have to watch it tomorrow. Probably review it on Thursday. I think most of my Thursday night shows are not having a new episode this week. So I'm going to try to take Thursday to, get some other stuff done, get some stuff caught up as well. Keep rolling with my video game stuff and my baseball news. But I'm going to try to record one of those when I get off before I go about do my business tonight, and go from there. So guys, I gave Raw a B. What are your guys' thoughts on Raw tonight? What are your thoughts on, again, the Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar brawl? The thoughts on what they did with Seth Rollins and Mustafa Ali. The direction they went with the Dexter Lumis and Miz angle as well. All of that. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirBoy93. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. And peace out, everybody.